I don't know if I've said good morning already, but I meant to whilst I was outside, but today has been such a wash of a day. Everything I planned is just... Today is not one of those days. Today is a home reset and a prep for the week. That's what it is. The weather is miserable. Obviously, you can't be in the UK without complaining about the weather. I have to clean up my house, get ready for the week, and then just do some social media stuff. So it's not going to be very interesting, but I think I'll just kind of yap a bit and call it a day because, oh, it's so gross out. It's just best to be home and be cozy. Hello, I thought we could chat. I'm just gonna sit and chat. Hopefully you can hear me because I'm trying to speak super soft so as not to disturb my flatmates. I've been thinking a lot lately about this year and starting back in London again, like a restart, a redo, and I wrote the beginning of a journal entry, more like London Diaries, for my next video that's going to be uploaded, short form content. And I just wanted to read off what I wrote. It's still being worked on. It's a rough draft. Okay, here it goes. On friendship and new beginnings. This year, I have a real chance to evaluate who I want to surround myself with. And there are some connections I do call into question. Not for any greater reason than to say, hanging out with these people makes me feel bad. So why would I put myself through that if given the chance to start over? I think having moved here and coming out of pandemic, I wanted to make friends. I figured it would take some time. I admit I descended into people pleasing so that I would be liked, so that I could find my people. But you can't please everybody, and I've found unlikely allies through social media. My friends I've found simply by getting over the embarrassment of being seen, and connections I've never met cheer me on. So that's the start of that thought, and I think it's very important because I've had two things happen to me in the last couple days. Not happen per se, but said to me, and I thought it was so insane. Some people who I consider friends, in my view, talking to me crazy, trying to humble me, I would say, or maybe there's some miscommunication. But through the history of some of my friendships, there's been some moments where I'm like, do you know what? I can't keep doing this to myself because hanging out with these people makes me feel bad. And I don't come to those conclusions randomly. I thought to myself, maybe it's all in my head. Maybe I'm making stuff up. But there's so much time spent now where all of these subtleties, anything that you pick up subconsciously, your body knows. You have a gut feeling, you have a feeling inside you, and you can say to yourself, hey, I don't think I'm cherished here. And it's not so much that, it's not like, oh, these people don't like me. It's that I don't think I'm celebrated here. I think I'm tolerated. I accommodate others who don't accommodate me. And I think this year is going to be different because I've spent time fighting for myself and advocating for myself in construction, on a construction site. I'm surrounded by men. It wasn't that bad, but I had to advocate for myself. I had to speak up. I had to be assertive, sometimes rude, which is fine. I'm like, yeah, women should be rude in the workplace. I actually think so. Respectfully, but that's a thin line. I'm back here now, and I just realized I'm completely different. when I did come down and hang out with people, it was kind of once every few months. Let's say once every few months, let's once every other month. And it was very targeted, it was set, it was for a minimum amount of time. So now that I'm here and I have all this time, I'm like, do I want to spend my valuable time being someplace where after I leave, I feel bad? Those are the questions. The next step is to actually get the courage to walk away. And I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if it's something gradual or if it's sudden or if it's communicated, which I should probably communicate some of my grievances. But I've just had some reflections, especially today, which I'm taking a slow day, and it's something that I've thought about more as I hung out with one of my friends I've met through social media that I've been friends with her now maybe 3 years, 2 years, 3 years, and I had such a good day with her. And I know who I have good days with, and I know who I don't have good days with, and I'm getting older, and I don't want to have bad days with anybody anymore. My priorities have shifted. I think what I want to spend my time on has changed. I've changed. Whereas the last 2 years were kind of maintenance mode for friendships, this time around, it's like, actually, I demand respect. And I deserve quality time and to be thought of. So, I think moving forward, I have to really shed the people pleasing. I've always been so hard on myself with friendships because I want to make all of them work, and sometimes they don't. And sometimes I've had really bad friendships and friendship endings, let's say. So I'm hard on myself when it doesn't work out, but I need to set that down too. Life is too short to surround yourself with people who make you feel bad. And that's what I've learned this week. If only I have the courage to kind of make space for fresh water to come into my life. Saying goodbye to that and saying hello to new connections. That's what I'm going to do this year. Hello guys, it is a few days later and I'm just heading off to lunch. Just thought I'd check in, see how we all are doing at the end of this month, January. It was so long. How are we getting through winter in London? Just on my lunch break, there's a little brunch place nearby that I want to try out and maybe sit. The weather's really nice out, but it is still a little bit cold, and I'll see how long I can last. Pathways are closed at the moment. I mean, you can still get around it, but it's like kind of annoying. This is the view. I'd be somebody that if I had enough money to burn, I would go out to eat all the time. Like at lunch, I would go sit down restaurant 4 days a week and then go to dinner after work somewhere fancy. But I don't have that money to burn, so I don't do that. What's funny is that I'm pretty sure he got my order wrong, but it looked so good and it smelled so good that I didn't correct him. Also, I've been a little under the weather the last couple of days, hoping this matcha brings me back to life. I don't know what it is about matcha, but I feel so much better after I drink it. And I feel so late to the craze that I'm like, where was I? What was I on? Anyway, the matcha obsession starts now. Coming to you from the edge of my bed as per usual. I am getting sick. I actually am already sick, and I don't want to do anything. It was a struggle being at work today. I know it will be a struggle tomorrow. I'm trying to get to bed as early as I can, which is so bad because I'm like trying to force myself to do some editing and have a video prepared for tomorrow, but I can't bring myself to do it. I need to take a break. I've hit the ground running this month being back in London, and my body is like, hang on girl, slow your roll. So yeah, I hope you don't mind me just yapping for however long I feel like it. I just had some like recent thoughts, and I'll probably yap more in the next video, but so far it's coming up to a month being in London, and I'm settling in, and I've accepted the job, and I actually like my coworkers. It's a really interesting team, and the projects I'm working on, I think I might have mentioned, I'm not really like enthused, but it's a great learning opportunity. I think all experience is important, no matter how small. Anyway, I uploaded a video the other day. I had seen a TikTok about sleep being a luxury, and I keep thinking about it, and perhaps I freaked out a bit. Like, it's a market trend video, insights into the latest marketing trends that are gonna come up, and it's really an extension of the wellness conversations about, the whole wellness talk, like clean eating, clean makeup, and all this stuff. So the way he was explaining this trend made me think that it's like almost commodifying sleep. And a lot of the comments, a lot of the comments were glorifying bed rotting. And I just thought to myself, this does sound like a recession indicator. I saw like one comment that said that, and everyone else was agreeing with this poster, which, like, no knock on him, but I'm so shocked by it. Like, I don't think this is the time period in the world to bed rot, and I understand the reasons for wanting to do it because we all don't have money to do things, but now is the time especially to try harder to reach out to community and form like a mutual aid, because we can't be isolated like this, and it benefits capitalism to be isolated, and we need to counter it. Like, we can't just relegate ourselves to bed rotting. So I'm like saying this impassioned plea. I have a video on my TikTok that's like almost 5 minutes long, and it's not being pushed out, and it's fine. Like, sometimes videos are, sometimes are not, and it's really up to the algorithm. But I just think it's so interesting that this idea of sleep being a luxury is being pushed out when it's almost like a recession indicator, really. Whereas I'm trying to counter it, and that's almost being suppressed. Like, nobody's interested anyway. So yeah, I don't think it's like forces against me. It's just, I think it's really interesting what's being pushed out and what's not being pushed out. Those are my evening thoughts. I just kept thinking about it. Something else I was thinking about was just, I keep thinking that I'm doing too much, but I'm also like not enough, like, there's not enough hours in the day, and then in the weekend I want to do so much, but then my body's like, I'm tired, I want to go home, and like things like that. So I don't know what to do. I'm gonna take it in stride. Somebody said I'm acting like a girl who only has a couple months left in this city, so I need to chill, and I hope I can get to that point where I feel safe enough to chill, if that makes sense. I had a realization earlier today that this is the 5th year that I will have been in the UK. I mean, not for several months, but I'm just going to say from now, I've been here 5 years, which I think is a really good feat. I think it's really cool. But it's also 5 years since I left New York, and I was in New York for 3 years, which felt like 3 decades in New York. It's like completely different time warp. And I was just thinking, like, where did all the time go? And I know it's because we had pandemic, but my pandemic was insane. I was in New York at the height of it. Then I was intending to go to the UK from like June, but I burnt out. I went home for a little bit. I had gotten into a postgraduate program in the UK, and that didn't start till September, so I was home for a bit. And then I moved to the UK. So I think in 2020, I moved maybe 5 times, and maybe 4 or 5 times. No, that's not true. Is that true? I moved out of my New York flat to a temporary Airbnb in Flatbush. I moved home. I moved to the UK in a temporary accommodation to quarantine, which I wouldn't count. So like, okay, like three, not four. It's like 3 to 4, but like three really. So that was my 2020, and I was like, what did I do in 2021? I moved again into a large, insane flat share, which I had a lot of fun, but then it got old after a while. And I did make friends, had lots of parties, hosted lots of parties, finished school, finished my dissertation, got a job, and that was my 2021. Like, what did I do that Christmas? Do you know what happened that Christmas is that one of my videos on TikTok went viral, and it was because I was like a little bit sad during that time period. So I went to the British Library, and that kind of kicked off my social media life. And then 2022, what was I doing? I moved out of no, I I I had to help out with the construction management side of my job in June in Brighton. So I did. And then I hadn't like basically gone back to project management. I was just in construction from that point on. So I was supposed to be in Brighton for a month, but I ended up being there for like 3 months. So I spent the summer in Brighton, had a little summer romance, and then it was time to go up north. And at that time I was moving out of that flat share and into a smaller house. And then it was time to start the project up north where I was commuting. So I commuted back and forth. So I was up north from Sunday to Thursday for like 9 months. And then I found a flat in Saltburn by the sea in North Yorkshire. And I was primarily there. So that was for a year. And then this last year, my last year, 2024. Okay, so 2023 was like, doing the London life, but going back and forth up north. And then 2024 was almost solely being up north and working really hard. I was working my ass off. And yeah, then now 2025 is back in the city. So the time flies. And it's just so insane. I was literally sitting there just like, what have I done? What have I done? What do I have to show for all of this? But I have a lot to show for it, I think. I finished postgraduate, I started a job, I established my life abroad, and I think that's a great accomplishment. I mean, it was a lot of turmoil the last few years. I've had a hard time of it, but not as hard as others, the last few years. And yeah, I think I still have a ways to go, but I'm very proud of myself for how far I've come. And I think that's a lot to celebrate. So yeah, I am happy with myself. All right, I'm going to say goodnight here, and I will see you in a couple days because we're going somewhere exciting. Exciting for me, architecturally speaking. I think it will be a very interesting place. So I will see you soon. Hey, how are we? We finally made it to the weekend. It's Saturday. Today I'm going somewhere super interesting and it's already getting late in the day, so I have to get a move on. I'm glad I had a lion and I had a slow morning, but we gotta get moving. I had 2 things planned for today and I said to myself, I might have mentioned this before, I need to stop packing my day with stuff because then I get tired, and then the thought of doing all of it gets me tired, and then I am like unwilling to go out and do what I planned on doing, and I don't want to abandon myself and my plans. I think it's like a betrayal, and then I get upset. We're going someplace interesting. It is like an Art Deco palace is what they call it, adjoined to a medieval banquet hall. I don't know. I'm gonna research a little bit more on the way there, but it is kind of a journey. It's already noon, and I should get there around 1. I have like a few hours until it closes, so I hope that's enough time. It should be. Anyway, let's go. This is the outfit for the day. I don't really like it, but I had to get a move on, so we're just gonna rock with it.
Station, Plaza Road.
Finally made it after what proved to be a very interesting journey. I had to get to Woolwich from the DLR and then take the bus. And I was like, where am I? This looks like real London, like the kind of London that you see on TV shows instead of like the glossy, glamorous London like Made in Chelsea. I said, oh my God, this is like real life. I really like it. I know that sounds silly, but I thought that was great. It's like it glimpses into like actual London. Just got my ticket and we're gonna go inside. I have to say, I'm really loving leaning into being an architectural nerd this year. This is my background, and obviously I like to take architectural photos, so it's been really enriching for me personally to kind of delve more deeply into this aspect of my life. I've had such an incredible day being an architectural nerd. It's I feel so good. I'm so happy the sun decided to come out at last, the last 15 minutes that I have on these grounds, because I think the whole thing closes at 4, so I'm kind of rushing a bit. There was a view of a bridge that I wanted to get to before it closes, so let's see if I make it. I believe I've got all the pictures I needed to get, and also my big camera is on 9%, so I am just going to enjoy the rest of my time here en route to the exit, because I have maybe 10 minutes, and head home. Call it an early night because I was gonna go to Stratford and go to the big M&S there, but I also don't feel like it. I'm heading home. I'm going to the local store, and maybe I sit somewhere local to eat, to be honest with you, and I'll have a quiet evening, edit this week's video, and that is my Saturday. I am turning into an old lady. I don't do much. I don't go to the club. I go to historic sites with Tudor history, I suppose. So I will say goodbye here, and I will see you soon. Bye.